It's, is there a deadline for the finalisation of the signature agreement? That's about 3 or 4 questions.
Well, thanks, Eddie. We have signed, we have finalised the agreements of the ways that we want to go forward. As far as the funding, as you recall, Eddie, and I think we've talked about this before, that the project is a whole variety of different projects in different companies. There's the upstream part, there's the midstream part, and each of those will have the different mixes of equity and debt. Neither of us, because of the balance sheets that we have, are at all worried about ability to raise financing. All of us are very focused on presenting at the last possible moment, picking the best situation that the markets will be able to provide us for each of the projects, and each of the projects, including a pipeline, including the upstream positions and so on, will have different structures. So in many ways, the question is premature, and certainly our biggest job right now is trying to keep the banks from wasting too much of our time.
Dr. Badr-El-Din, what will be the specific responsibility of this UOG Enron ELF joint venture? Is it to build the pipeline, or I mean, you say there are various different aspects of the overall project. What specifically will this joint venture do?
The partnership. Thank you. I'm sorry I don't know your name, but hi, Mark. The partnership is in charge of the strategic vision of the development of the project, and what we're specifically agreed to do is develop the upstream parts and the midstream parts. In other words, getting the gas to markets. We together determine the strategies. We together will be working together and choosing other partners that would make sense for different elements of the projects. This is not a closed shop. We recognize that there would be many companies that could add value in different elements, including perhaps the pipeline construction or different elements even within the downstream, the upstream. The most important aspect, I believe, of our partnership is the overall risk management of the project. In other words, being able to get the maximum return for our joint equity as we possibly can. By using the expertise of both these companies here in being able to use, for example, the expertise that Alfina has in the North Field to produce gas as quickly as possible, being able to use, for example, some of Enron's expertise in overall risk management and hedging to be able to most effectively finance and deliver transportation as quickly as possible, but also in being able to compete and choose the whole raft of partners that we expect to be coming in the future. And I think a very important point to make here is that we really have been in discussion with just about every energy major in the world up to yesterday. Yes, the lists have been coming in, getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And I had a few difficult phone calls to make last night to some very large companies, some even larger than those here, about the fact that perhaps we're not together at the podium today, but looking forward to finding ways of adding value in the future, because many of these companies have other elements of value, not only within the Gulf region, but beyond, that would tie into to what Dolphin is trying to do. But perhaps if either of you'd like to add to that.
I think that's a very good response and very accurate. I think what I would say to that is that we have formed a venture with a group of competencies that we think there's a synergistic effect. It's a group that should work going forward. And what we're going to focus on near term is probably the pipeline project that you've heard about, which will take gas from Qatar to Abu Dhabi and maybe beyond. And that's our first focused effort. And I think that there's just like Dr. Amin said, the unique thing about Dolphin is that that there's no set participation or ownership in any of these projects. We can, there's the flexibility to bring other partners, to do whatever makes sense for the effort at hand. And Dolphin will provide the strategic direction and probably the decision-making process in putting these together. So, but I think it's important to point out that we do have a project. Would be our first project would be the pipeline opportunity that you've heard about, and we're focused on that very, very quickly.
And the upstream as well, I think.
The upstream piece as well. I say pipeline because we're the midstreamers, but if it certainly comes from an upstream position in Qatar. That's right.
And maybe if I pass over to Gerard, because I think an important point to recognize is that this team that's in front of you has, for the last few weeks, been in detailed negotiations. For example, on our upstream discussions in Qatar, which is not only a very important partner of ours, a very important supplier of ours, but something that we all should also say is a very important market of ours, because Abu Dhabi and the UAE in general have already committed to become substantial investors in the economy of Qatar. Qatar is a great economy for us to be investors in, and having a company such as Dolphin with partners such as these involved in obtaining gas from Qatar puts us in a very strong position to supply some of those projects, some of those UAE investment projects in Qatar. But Gerard, do you want to add anything to that?
No, yes, in Qatar, of course, the advantage of our partnership is obvious, I think, because we are in a good way for developing the market, as you say, to the Emirates, but also helping developing Qatar itself and having downstream activity in Qatar. So we think we have a very wide range of opportunities from Qatar and downstream.
Do you envisage Total Fina Alf supplying any gas to the project in the longer term?
Dolphin will be supplying gas to the project, and Total Alfina would be partners in Dolphin, supplying gas to the project. As you know, Total Alfina does not have concessions of its own in Qatar, and it is Dolphin that would be proceeding in discussions for the supply of gas to us. But obviously we're very privileged to have a company like Total Alfina that would be able to help us extract that gas in the most efficient ways. But I'm sorry, I think there was a question just in front of you.
Alex talks Gas Matters. Two questions. First of all, for the two major components, the upstream and the pipeline, what are your envisaged timeframes? And secondly, what will be the role in Dolphin of Mobil and ADNOC?
Okay. Do you want
So the upstream?
to start with the upstream, midstream, and I'll handle the last one, the third question.
In terms of timing, the first things to be solved, I think, is, in fact, for gas, the main issue is market. So when the contracts are signed and sold for selling the gas, and then when we have also solved the contractual issues in Qatar, then the project will start. And today, just to give a possible date of starting the production, that could be in 2004.
Yeah, we think probably from the midstream position we'll be able to start construction of the pipeline within a year to 18 months, and we should have it complete sometime in the late 2002, early 2003 timeframe.
And the difference is what leads to your third question. Obviously, we're working on as fast a time frame as possible, simply because of the demand shortfalls that we have now, and as far as the discussions with Mobil are concerned, as you know, that we in the OG and through Dolphin have signed an agreement with Mobil, and that agreement with Mobil, if you recall, and I think we spoke to you at that time, Alex, was specifically to look at the possibility of us being able to acquire gas from the Mobil EGU in case we needed to ramp up early gas supply. So in the event that we have markets that we can supply, and we're confident of both of those, earlier than we're able to produce, and then we have the possibility of, we're not going to lose those markets. We have the possibility of buying in gas from a development of which we would own a part of. However, our drive is, of course, to develop our own concessions in the fastest possible time frame.
And the costs of each element?
I beg your pardon?
What are the costs of each element?
Well, the costs are very much driven by ramp-ups, but you're looking in the 1 to 2 on the upstream to about 2 to 3 in sorry, the other way around. It's about 2, a little bit more than 2 in the upstream, and 1 to 2 in the midstream, and it's very much driven by the ramp-ups. It's also very much driven by the further phases, how we wish to tie the further phases into the CapExes of the first parts. Those ramp-ups, those CapEx ramp-ups, have been extensively modelled by all of us over the last. See a few people smiling, having lost some of their eyesight on this modelling over the last months, and the trade-offs end up being on which markets we secure first from a ramp-up standpoint. But for what we're talking about now, the phases, the overall capex is about 4.
Will they be financed separately?
Each would be financed separately, standalone projects. Each would be would have different capital structures, because as you know, the markets change on a daily basis. We're not married to a very specific way. We're all lucky enough to be able to effectively choose the way we would like to finance. None of us are short of relationships or knowledge, or indeed ability to finance these projects, and we're leaving the different markets to compete until such a time as we go forward. I think if you talk about the upstream and you talk about capex, for example, on the upstream, I think I can safely say that we believe that in Total Alfina we have a partner that has been able to deliver the lowest capex processes on extremely timely delivery of any of the partners that we've been in any detailed engineering discussions with, as well as financial discussions. And when it comes to the midstream, we're talking with a company, Enron, that not only has built lots of pipes and operated them and built them quite fast, but has also been extremely efficient in being able to place financing. So we're looking to their lead in expertise and leveraging the not unconsiderable financial ability of Abu Dhabi as well. Yes, ma'am.
On the total cost, when you say around 4, I assume that is the cost of the project to bring gas to Abu Dhabi. I understand that there's going to be a further stage eventually with the aim of possibly taking gas all the way over to Pakistan, and I gather the estimated cost for that was something between $8 to $10 billion. No?
A couple of very minor clarifications, if I may. One is it's not just to Abu Dhabi. We're talking Qatari gas to supply the Qatari market, the Abu Dhabi market, the Dubai market, and the Oman market, as far as the first figure is concerned. The $8 to $10 billion figure is, in fact, still within the same phase, but is capex is related to the projects that will be enabled by the gas that's arriving there. The Offsets Group, as many of you know, have been intimately involved, in fact responsible for the privatization of power and water desalinization in Abu Dhabi. A lot of the gas demand is driven by the need for new power generation. As many of you also know, the Offsets Group has been responsible for